All right, as previously discussed, finally had some time to dissect these two filters from my daughter's '07 Volvo XC70 from the last couple of oil changes. This filter, I don't remember what brand it was. I can't seem to find anything on it that indicates. It doesn't really matter. More traditional, just filter here. This was about 2,200 miles of driving on, this was a Total brand, which is a European product. Total brand oil, 5W40 synthetic, that was run for about 2,500 miles in the car right after I got it, and before I got the PCV valve, or PCV system, which is a convoluted mess on those cars, changed out. And as you can see, I hope you can see, I'm trying to get my phone to cooperate here. There we go. Nope, too much. Sorry, I'm working with rubber gloves and an iPhone here. There we go. There is scugads of sludge, carbon, all in this thing. Look at that. Don't need a microscope to see that, boys. So, my suspicion is the poor thing was not run very hard or hot for a long time. It did a lot of short trips in its life, never got up to temp, and probably got the cheapest oil changes at the worst place at extended intervals. Let's get a tool here, see what we can scrape out of there. Oh yeah, there you go. How's that for one little pass at the bottom of the filter? That's nasty. So here's the bottom of the filter where I cut it off. And you can pretty well see that is just chock-a-block full of soot. Top of the filter, big difference. So moving over here, I don't know, make a couple more pleats here. It's the outside of the filter. Let's flip it over. Look at the inside. Filter was being very effective because the inside of the filter is very clean. No evidence of stuff on that side. So the good news is these are big chunks, you know, I mean, those are easily caught in a filter, and those aren't really what cause microscopic wear, because they can't get between tight tolerances in parts. They just kind of get knocked around, float around, beat around, and then pushed back through into the filter and caught. Look at that, man. What in the hell? Poor engine. It runs like a top. Absolutely runs like a top. Oil consumption has damn near ceased since fixing the PCV system. No leaks. Consumption is very minimal for a 15-year-old turbocharged 5-cylinder of dubious maintenance history. So here is the most recent filter, and the one that's the topic of conversation, with the Restore and Protect product from Valvoline. This is mid-cycle. I went ahead and changed this filter out because I knew we had a sludge issue, and I know that it cleans even more aggressively than this high-end synthetic in a different way. So as you can see, between these two, this one is really black. This one is kind of a normal paper color, just with a lot of solids here. This has a crap ton of solids. That's a metric crap ton since it's a Volvo. An unbelievable amount. This is a Fram Ultra, so it is stainless mesh backed. So it made it a little harder to get it apart, but not too bad. Just kind of push it off of the brakes, or the ends, and it breaks away if you're ever trying to take one apart. And then I just popped the ends off. But anyway, look at that. I bet I could get a 1/4 pound of sludge out of this thing. But you see how black this media has become. This was a white paper. This Fram Ultra was white. This one was brown to start with, and it's still pretty brown. This one is black. I don't know what that means, but I'm guessing. Look at that. I mean, that is 3-dimensional sludge, folks, at the bottom of the filter. And inside the housing, like you saw in my previous video, there was a good buildup of it in there. You can see it on this cap. Just mountains of it. So anyway, the wire has decided to stick to the paper, so I can't get it to flip. There we go. If you're going to run Restore and Protect in an engine that you know has dubious oil change history, here's the back side of the filter. I highly recommend you change your filter mid-cycle, maybe at 1,500, 2,000 miles. This is at 2,000 miles, 2,500 miles maybe of highway driving. And you can see that filter has captured a lot. I've seen worse in extended oil changes, you know, 20,000 mile neglect. This is 2,500 miles, folks. 2,500 miles. And it is blinded. Here's the back side of that. You see how that media looks there? That's what it should look like with 2,500 mile oil. The oil itself looks pretty good. This is microscopic sludge that has just absolutely blinded that filter. Now if I push on it, some of it kind of pushes through, but I mean, it's just paste, sludgy paste. Look at that. There's some good detail for you. It's like sand. Feels like sand between your fingers, gritty sand. Ugh. So, is it working? Abso-frickin-lutely. Do I recommend you do it? I would say the engine is running much better after these oil changes, the PCV changes. Just seems to have a lot more low-end torque, a lot more throttle response. It's pulling much smoother on the top end. I also put a bottle of Techron through it. Or no, Lucas Extreme injector cleaner. That made a big difference. So this car likely did a lot of short trips. I think it was owned by an older lady. It had pretty low miles for the year, 120,000 when we bought it. For a 15-year-old, well, no, 18-year-old car, that's a 16-year-old car. That's really good. So it didn't get driven much. So low mileage isn't always your friend. It might mean it didn't get up to temp, and that's when carbon deposits happen, water. So there's no metallic issues. I did send an oil sample off to Blackstone. Everything looks great. The oil's happy, the engine's happy. The solubles were low, so these filters are doing their job. They're absolutely doing their job. The fuel dilution was good, so it's not getting past the rings. The rings are seating. I think this engine is healthy. It just was ashed up. So run the Restore and Protect. I think it does its job. I really do. It's reduced oil consumption, increased power. I think it really works. A lot of this stuff probably came from the rings. But change that oil filter at least once if you're going to run it 5,000 miles, which is perfectly fine. The oil itself seems really healthy. So I'm not worried about running at 5,000. I think it'll continue to do its job. Run a good quality filter and change it, because when it gets blinded like this, guess what? I think this filter was likely in bypass. That's when you end up with problems. I don't know. I don't have proof of that. It may have still been flowing, but looking at the back side of that versus the front side, it was having a hard time. This one too, although I think this one was better. I think this Valvoline Restore and Protect is dissolving a lot finer solids that are blinding this filter media. In other words, making it impassable. It looks like paper, but it's really just solid gunk. Look at that, my God. So, anyway, like, comment, subscribe, tell me I'm an idiot, whatever you want. There's you some info.